All right, hello everyone. Welcome to the Awaken to Happiness Now global series. Thank you so much for being here with us. If you are live here with us on Zoom, welcome, welcome. If you're watching on the replay on YouTube, welcome, welcome. Please do subscribe so you can take advantage of all the current shows, all the previous shows, all the shows coming up. It is my deepest wish, desire, and intention to bring to you these amazing speakers who are sharing their wisdom, their teachings, their experiences, their processes, clearings, healings, activations, transmissions, etc., so that we can all thrive, so that we can all awaken to happiness now. And so today, my dear friend Elizabeth Wysen is back with us, and we're going to be talking about a window in the dark, the healed future. So some of what we're going to talk about, and understand too that it's not just a conversation as we are speaking. Of course, transmissions are flowing through. I'm going to say through Elizabeth, but through all of us as we are all co-creating this beautiful space. But we are receiving much more than just words in this conversation. So please be aware of that and receive. So some of what we're going to talk about today is what kinds of light and dark are happening now, how you can navigate the rebuilding of consciousness, what actions you can take to participate, how to see past the illusion of doom, and of course, so much more. And, it's always an enlightening conversation, illuminating conversation when Elizabeth is here with us, and so much opens up within us if we're willing to receive and are open to it, right? And so for those of you who may not know Elizabeth, she has been with us many, many times. She is considered an advanced seer. She works on the cutting edge of galactic and quantum anthropology, trauma healing, and futurism. With her lifelong ability to see into and work with all dimensions, her theoretical and psychic work has helped people all over the world. Called Living Library and Oracle, Elizabeth has spent her whole life studying anthropological theory, quantum physics, ancient and modern medicine. She has 2 science degrees, including a master's in applied anthropology. And her philosophies and practices bridge science and spirituality to support real change in the world. And, when we're talking about real change in the world, we're also talking about real change in consciousness, right? So, everyone, please join me in welcoming Elizabeth back to the show. And we are just going to get started here. So, Elizabeth, I'm so glad you're here. It has been a interesting time, I'll be honest. This past month has been not very easy, we'll say, right? And so I know some of us have had difficult time handling the dark, with the light, and balancing those two in our lives and walking the path of the middle path between the dark and the light. And sometimes it's that the dark takes over a little bit more, and that's when sometimes we have what I call the dark night of the soul, when it seems like all that illusion just becomes so much more magnified, and the light is a little bit hidden. So um that's what happened to me recently, like, just a month ago. And so I am a little slowly coming out of it. So it's no longer dark. It might be a little gray in some spots, but it's no longer dark. But it is something that happens when there is I feel like there has been a change in consciousness. There's been a change in energies, and the last month has been so intense. And the dark night of the soul is basically, for me, it's just lighting up those shadows that you have put aside or ignored or don't want to look at, and they come up to the surface to be looked at and processed, right? So we'll talk a little bit about that, but I want I want to ask you, first of all, what has your experience been right now? Because, this conversation is called A Window in the Dark, the Healed Future. So basically, for me, it's like it's like a lifeline. Even, it's like there is a lot happening in the world, and right now, if we can just find that little bit of a window, we can see the light that there is, and that the promise of that healed future. And I know I'm using vague words, but if you can elaborate, that would be great, because there's just so much going on right now.
Yes, I can elaborate. And first, I just want to say that I'm so glad that you've been able to come out of this really dark time. And same, it's been very hard past several years. Lots and lots of pressure on all of us. Most of what we are letting go is a lot of it's our attachment to the visions we had for our marriages, for our children, for our lives, for our careers, etc., for our societies. And that's a huge sacrifice to offer up to source God, is our attachment to those visions, because those visions have been built on the fears and desires of the past. They can't actually be built. Even like the attachments we might have to like amicable breakups, or you know, being able to just neutralize things, or can't we all just, come to a neutral place, and then all of that falling apart too, for countries, for political parties, for friends, and everything is looking like that. So um, these these particular dynamics, they really settle in the body, in the root and in the solar plexus. And so I want people to notice that your body's really responding to the breakdown of these visions. And this is necessary. It's part of how we walk out of the matrix. So people, many of us are toggling between the matrix and natural law. And most of us don't tend to name what's outside of the matrix. We call it New Earth, but that's not really the case. The Earth is the Earth. She's not just going to be magically new. We could call it New Society, but even that kind of alludes to us somehow retaining some of our favorite parts of the old society. And so I want to name it, I want to say it out loud. It's divine order, it's natural law. And that's what's outside the matrix. It was there all along. The matrix cannot exist without it. The matrix has been built in order to force us to wake up. All of these things are really particularly traumas that the soul has brought in so that we can wake up. That term dark night of the soul is tricky, because the soul doesn't actually perceive this stuff the same as our bodies do. So we might call it like the dark night of our identity, or the dark night of our body, right? Because the body's a child of God, and the soul is like, this is very highly entertaining. So the soul doesn't find fault in
Mom, is
any
there
of
any
this.
way you could bring it to me? Is there any way you could bring it to me?
Elizabeth, I'm going to mute you. Give me 1 second.
No
I mean, not
worries.
Elizabeth, Rachel. Okay,
Yeah,
go
so
ahead.
yeah, no problem. So it's just tech day, right? So the dark night of identity, and our identities are deeply connected to the visions we've had, the hopes that we've had for our future. So I want things to be very clear to all of us that we are not here at all to carry the baggage forward of those structures. We are here to be available for nature. So let me give you an example, because we can talk very esoterically, but let's talk about stuff in a 3D way. I moved to the jungle in Ecuador in a very, very special valley. It's a unique valley that magnifies everything. And I didn't really know that when I got there, but figured it out real quick, because everything I would think or say would become real very quickly. And especially here on the equator, we're closer to the sun. It's partly why I moved here. I wanted to be the first responder to the light so I could report it back to everybody, but I was embedded in the jungle, in nature, in Gaia. And increasingly, over some years, it became very apparent that my personal life, my inner world, was not arranged well enough or healed enough for me to be useful to such a place. Now, this planet is going to become exactly like that place. And it's increasingly so every day in an exponential way. And why? Because the electromagnetic field is disappearing. We're going through a 12,000 year and a 6,000 year shift. There's many actual cycles at the end right now, an 800,000 year cycle as well. We're in a completely new place in space. The sun has everything to do with it. Climate is changing because of the sun, not humans. And the earth, when she goes through these periods, becomes a magnifying glass. You know, she's mainly made of water. And so she becomes a magnifying glass of every thought, every word, every deed. And so all of you are starting to, more and more, increasingly so, notice the veils are gone. They're not even thin, they're just gone. That you're becoming more psychic, whether you like it or not. And as much as you might have wished you were psychic before, now you're realizing it's a real pain sometimes. And the empaths are becoming more sensitive. Your body's responding really dramatically. You're purging sickness. It seems more dramatic than before. Relationships blowing up. Everything you think and say becomes really real very quickly. You're seeing synchronies happen more. My friends, it's going to increase 10,000 times fold from what it is now. In the next 5 years, it's the most important time that I could ever state. We've been talking about this consistently for over 15 years. I've been on these shows with Alara, with others. And I've remained the same, consistent. The message has been the same. Prepare yourself for this time. Now we're in it. Now it's now. So what has happened here in Ecuador, because we're closer to the sun, we get more of this quicker, right? It happened sooner. Is karma is starting to finally come full blown, full circle. And so a lot of the people who were causing the worst problems, for example, all of it's over. They're all gone now. Suddenly, overnight, everything is changing. So prepare for this incredible cleansing of your societies, of your field, of your awareness. It's a good thing, and it will be very beautiful. There's a lot to celebrate, but that also means you got to get really deep and say, what exactly do I need to rearrange in my life in the 3D and in the other dimensions, in my inner world, in my thoughts? You know, we're going to have to face off with mind control right now and get control of our minds again. I've had to do that this past year. It's really tough, but it can be done. And there's lots of wonderful tools available to us now. Now we actually have more available for us to be able to do this kind of stuff. We should use the internet to our advantage as best we can for as long as we can, for that matter. But I realized like I couldn't live there until I got my life in order, and I had to have a different relationship with all of these places. And I've been asked directly by the higher powers that I call Source God. I've been asked to be fluid, to be able to move around, to be able to show up in different places physically to teach, and just show up where I'm asked to show up where I'm invited. And that doesn't mean everyone's asked to do that, but to be prepared in consciousness to recognize that that the old masters always have said, your thoughts, your words, and your deeds create reality. My friends, we're in a time now where that is absolutely 100% true. It's physics, it is measurable, and people who have listened to me before know I care very much about measurable results. So it's not a warning, it's a celebration. It's a hey, it's now. The gate is open. Now the window is open. The door is open. The gates are open. You can walk out. You can walk out. But what are you walking into? Natural law. Natural law is dependent on your divine rights. It's not like human law. It's not what you're used to. It elevates you. It says you have the divine right to have the exact right healed relationships. You have a divine right to imagine the kingdom of heaven on earth. You have the right, the divine right, to speak and let your words be your wand and create reality, to think and let it be so. You have a divine right right? And we could go on and on. It's a little tricky because there's no internet or electricity for those of you who've come later. So I'm doing my best. But the divine rights are basically important because you're not used to being elevated like that. The matrix isn't going to elevate you. It tells you that you have a box that you have to live in and that you have to make it work in the box. But in this case, it feels not only really amazing and that you can and should be doing a lot less work because you're simply putting it all into God's hands, which is absolutely the only way. It's utter total surrender. All the great masters said that too. But now it's physics, it's physical, it's 3D, it's absolutely real and tangible, and you're going to see it more. So whatever's happening here on the equator, it's spreading. The ley lines, the dragon lines, they're getting wider, faster, which means the electromagnetics of the planet are changing. And it's going to be the whole planet that becomes a giant magnifying glass. So there is this big division between two different choices that we're all making. I think of it as like a series of bottlenecks over the past decade that we've been witnessing, where people have had these choice points. And we've talked a lot about this over many years. Now it's here. Like, finally, all the stuff we've been talking about is happening now. But there's these bottlenecks or these choice points where there's almost like it feels like a plexiglass division between you and certain other people who are making choices, who are saying like, no, we don't want to live out there. We want to live here in the matrix, in the box. We've made our life like it's working for us. We don't really want to change. And then there's this whole other group of people, and there's no in between. It's the people who are stepping out of it and saying, what if we approached everything completely differently? We could take some of the pearls of wisdom from the past, but you know, if what people are saying that we're going to become a new species eventually, which is going to take a long time, but it's got to start. It's starting now. And it's got to start sometime. That's why some of the people you talk to can't hear you. And I mean it in a literal way. We've all been having this experience where you'll say something and it's as if you're just talking from a different dimension. That's because you are. That's because you are. So you're going to start to see these two different kinds of folks. You know, they all still deserve the same love and human rights and awareness. They're all on their own journey. They're all learning. That's all true. But you're going to have to make more and more choices to get connected to the people who can hear you. You're going to have to pack your bags and move when you didn't really think you wanted to or had to. You're going to have to decide to let a bunch of things go, including all of the visions you had for your relationships and your career, etc. You're going to have to completely let go of your idea of what the financial systems are. And everything that you've ever imagined that is human has to be completely remade in this light. And it's not going to be made by us. It's made by the earth. She's going to magnify the kingdom of heaven inside of us. So what does that mean? It means you have to start tracking your thoughts very carefully. And if you got to walk around with a notebook, do it. But you need to be on top of it right now, because every little thought that's out of divine law is mind control. It's not you. It's not just your trauma. The trauma is tied into the mind control. So the more you offer up your trauma, don't be sitting in the story anymore. That's not going to help you either. Don't worry about trying to remember all your blocked memories. Don't go through every trauma piece and try to make sense of it. That's actually extremely detrimental. We're going to have to relearn psychology and biology and physics, and we're going to have to relearn technology. All of this, we're going to have to relearn it in the light. We have to relearn it in divine law. So drop all of it. Drop everything you think you know. And if you're willing, then you're going to be able to track your mind very carefully, and you'll see that you're being mind controlled. It's very clever. It's beyond when, dealing with external circumstances like technology or cell phones or Wi-Fi or anything like that. The matrix doesn't need that. It's psychic. So they're using Indra's net against you. You reclaim it. You're a sovereign. So if you're in sovereign service, you're taking really good care of your body right now. You're taking really good care of your awareness field. And as you are increasingly aware of these intrusive thoughts that don't belong to you, the more and more and more you can establish these boundaries. At first, it's like 1,000 times a day, and then it's 900 times a day, and then it's 800 times a day. And it's going to be less and less and less. And so I'm catching myself now. It's taken me about a year to completely turn this on its head. It's going to take you all less time. But once you're aware that that's happening and that someone else is actually carving the way in that, and I'm not the only one, but once that happens, then it's faster for you. But now it's just a few times a day that I'm like, ooh, there you are. I can see it. And it feels like a little bit of pressure on your head from a certain direction. It could be from even behind you, but you're dealing with the dimensions are wide open. And all of these different dynamics to try to keep you trapped in this false vision, these false hopes for the future, that is what's keeping you trapped. So once you do that, and then you've got your mind back intact, you're going to start bringing in more light. You're starting to imagine healed outcomes. And then you're going to start to speak them. And you're going to use the power of the word by saying these things out loud and commanding it to be so. When the trauma shows up, you hand it off out loud to God and say, take this from me, pay it forward, turn it into miracles. Trauma is treasure. I'm spending it. And you keep spending your genetic bondage. You keep spending your personal trauma. You keep spending, especially you empaths, keep spending the energy you feel from the collective. If they can't spend it for themselves, then you are the treasurer who's allowed to spend it on their behalf because you can feel it. So it's your divine right to support humanity's evolution by spending the trauma. We use it like money. It's currency on the energetic planes. And then as you begin to learn how to speak from the light, then you act in it. That means you're spending more time building in the light. So like currently I'm writing grants for a multi-million-dollar anti-poverty project here in southern Ecuador. It's not like I'm not busy. I'm incredibly busy, but I'm compelled. I'm compelled by the light to spend my time building an alternative currency system here for the Ecuadorians and the expats who live here, to make connections, to start to travel and teach in person more. All these things coming into play, building in the light. That's what it feels like, and it's pure joy. It doesn't feel like effort, so it doesn't really feel like work, and it just will keep happening miraculously. Then the miracles start occurring. Like illnesses suddenly spontaneously get better. Relationships suddenly spontaneously get better. People who were actually causing huge dramatic problems in your life disappear. They literally disappear. Their karma comes full circle now. Again, I'm on the front lines because I'm closer to the sun, and that's exactly who is leading the way along with our planet in our evolution. Take that very seriously. And so what I'm telling you is happening here, which is physically happening to all the people here. And if you just talk to anybody who lives here, they would say the same, even the Ecuadorians. They are very hyper aware of it. So it doesn't matter how educated or not you are, you're going to experience it. So this next 6 months to a year, everything I'm saying that's happening here is going to begin to happen everywhere. And so here on the equator, we're about 6 months ahead when it comes to these dynamics. This is how fast stuff's happening. It's not even years now, it's months. So as you begin to be compelled to work in the light, it's effortless, and every single resource that you need to make things happen. And that's what true surrender feels like. It's a lot less work. The work is in that you have to take that first step to get a hold of the mind control, and you have to let go of all of what you'd been hoping for relationships and your life. Let it all go. Your attachments to it, you can't imagine right now what's actually possible in the light. Now, there's more I have to say about what's coming, but that's the lay of the land at the moment, right this minute.
Awesome. Thank you. And that is so, it's so interesting to hear what is coming for all of us, right? And so the preparation time, so many of us have already been preparing, but still there's still more preparation to go. And so just a quick summary just for people who may not have caught everything, but it really is about us being present and being aware of our thoughts, feelings, and emotions, but also being willing to be aware of our energy as well, right? Our energy field, our thoughts, feelings, emotions, our stories, and the biggest thing is letting go of the attachment and being willing to surrender to God's source creator, right? So I always have a hard time with surrender, I'll be honest. I have a hard time with surrender, and I've been trying, and I for the past little while, I'm trying to surrender more and more and more, but it's difficult. I have a really strong mind, right? So that mind control is very strong in my field, and I know that, right? And that's why sometimes when I have these dark night of the soul experiences, it's usually related to thought forms, right? And I should know that by now, but I still get caught. But the surrendering your attachments, I understand, but surrendering your ideas, your visions, I understand. For me, it feels like I have absolutely no control of my life at all. I have no control, no idea, no control of what's going to happen. It's like whether I do something or not, I have no idea. So I'm in that phase kind of where it's like in the unknown completely, and it's not full surrender, I can tell you that much, because I still it's like I'm trying to gain control. I'm still grasping, you know what I mean? It's like I'm trying to, but I can't. And so part of me has understood that those old paradigms are no longer available to me, right? The way that I used to function, or that my mind used to, attach to things, is not possible anymore. And so it's like I need to be willing to just be without creating designs of what I want my life to be like. I can't anymore. It's like it just doesn't work. It's like it's about being in the flow and just being willing to just be in the awareness and consciousness and see what unfolds. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it's exactly perfect. It's that you don't know what you don't know. And if we are here to open the door for Homo luminous that has never existed before, then we're really the ones who have to be in that unknowing more than anyone that ever came before us. We don't know what we don't know. Then once you let the knowing go, which is the mind part, then you start to watch some other pieces, like you're mentioning, like planning. Like, oh, well, how can I plan? Well, you can't. The Matrix told you you can plan. We were educated in academia to believe that you could plan. Well, how can I try to be aware of the future? Well, you can't. We have no idea what's going to happen exactly. We don't know what the pole shift's going to look like. We don't know. We have no idea. We get little clues here and there of stuff, but we really don't have any idea. And that's a very precarious place to be, because then you don't really know who you are anymore. And that's when identity has to go. So that point, if you can get to the point where you're ready to let go of your identity, that's a precious place. Then you're going to be able to open up the higher dimensions, or I don't think of them as higher. I experience them as wider dimensions, more expansive awareness. The most expansive and most powerful moment in my life was when I decided to let my identity go utterly and let Elizabeth go. And that I had to do a ritual to make that happen. So I encourage all of you to do rituals to help yourself. Ritual is technology. It's how you use the technology that is your body appropriately to create a different reality, a relationship with this new space and this literal new place in space. So if you're willing to write all of the things down that you think about yourself, that you think you know, all your plans, all of this, do it more than once if you have to. Walk through a different doorway. That doorway into that place, that dimension, it has a sign above the door and it says, "No one may enter here." And it's not a boundary, it's an invitation. It says, if you can perceive yourself as you really are, as a being of frequency, as an immortal soul who has never died, then you can enter. So no one is your name, and you are welcome. And you're welcome to become one with Source, which at a practical level means that you don't need to worry about knowing, because Source already knows. You get your direct connection back to the pure Indra's net. And I teach a lot. I love to teach. I like to teach because it's where I can get out of the way. And then whatever moves through my voice ends up being from Source. It's my act of service so that, and in service we awaken. But in my act of service, then I have to go back and listen to my own classes because it's not Elizabeth talking. It's this other quality. It's a light. It's the soul. It's coming directly from Source. And that is what the active side of surrendering looks like, because there's practical pieces to it. When you finally surrendered everything you think you know, you've surrendered your identity, then on the other side of it, there's no more work to do. You're allowing it all to move through you. You become the library instead of working in consciousness and running around trying to keep anything that seems comfortable intact. And the reason why this is so utterly uncomfortable is because discomfort and suffering actually are the mother and father of innovation. So we have to be innovative in order to evolve right now, because everything that we're used to is not meant to be retained. The technology especially, it can't be this way. This technology, is Atlantean. We've got crystal screens, but then the frequencies coming off these things are killing us, are destroying our bodies. And that's not at all how the Atlanteans or the Tartarians or Lemurians built their tech. So, what's on the other side of all this is the healed outcome. And that's the dream, right? We are dreaming the healed outcome. It's there. You can't imagine it because whatever you're in the moment is, you're still always trying to dismantle what you think you know about it. But now everything you think about history, physics, etc., none of it's what we've been told. Again, we're gonna have to relearn everything. So that's important. Now, again, the other practical piece is on the other side of this surrender is, while you're dreaming it, it's literal in that you're going to go to sleep and dream. Many of us do, not everybody. But the dream will show you glimpses of what's coming. And the huge, immense changes that will occur on Earth. And then the waking dream, which I call mystical dreaming, where you're meant to actually image the kingdom of heaven in the fourth dimension. And so the fourth dimension is your imagination. You have to reclaim that utterly. The imaging is real. It affects everything, including the 3D. And the more you keep working with divine order, the better, because then basically you're using the mechanics of the way God has created this universe, source God, that you're using those mechanics as you should, because each cog in the machine that is divine order plays an incredibly important role. And once you're aware of that role, no matter how small it seems, then you actually get to interact with the rest of the mechanics, which is the whole universe. And then the source of energy that drives it, which is source, which is the void, which is the clear light, the Tao, the God that cannot truly be named. Just as a quick aside, someone in my class the other day, the word God is annoying people lately, probably for a long time, but it's becoming more and more apparent. And I said, well, what if it's an acronym for the glorious omnipotence of divinity? And that seemed to fix the problem. So when I say the word God, that's what I mean. And so that's the energy, the creative power that allows the moving universe to exist. And it's literally a machine. It's a big machine, and you are one of those cogs. Your awareness, that's you being awake. You're awake then to your role, and that there's this immense machine beyond you with many, many, many layers, but you're intimate with it. That's what being awake feels like. You're intimate with it. You can see the light that runs the whole machine. And so what does that mean? At a practical sense, it means that during the day, a problem comes up, right? And it could be anything, a relationship problem, maybe some resentment or some frustration or not being acknowledged comes up. What it feels like as someone who's awake is that you're aware of this problem in front of you as an objective issue. It's a speck of dust on the machine. It's an objective issue. It's not you against the other person. It's an awareness of this piece in front of you that is separate from you. You become separate from the problems, including your reactions and emotions. You're objective about it. They call it the witness. And then you can actually use divine and natural law to work that out. See, that's what's so interesting, is because we have not been taught natural law properly at all. It's been censored. And now's the time for us to really grasp it. So what do you do about that problem? Literally, I say out loud, Source, let it be so in your divine will that this problem is utterly dissolved into the most rich and best learning for myself and everyone involved, as is our divine right. And then I address the next problem and the next problem the same exact way, right? And I keep acknowledging it, mentioning it, noticing it, and then saying the same. In the divine will, it will be worked out. What that does is it ends up pushing those seemingly distorted pieces right back into their place. Because all it was is that something was out of whack, and it has to. It can't do anything but go back into place. But you make it happen faster. So all our problems, even if they're like long-term, I got plenty of long-term problems, physical issues mainly. And even if they seem like, that's where the illusion of doom comes from, is that the body keeps wishing that you would do this. It's actually mind control, yes, but then the body responds because the body knows that we're meant to actually work in the divine order. And when your body and your ego are driving the car and your soul's in the back seat, you know, with their hair out in the wind, wondering what's going on, then the body panics, and that's why you're in a fight or flight or fawn or freeze mode all the time, and you can't seem to get out of it. Well, it's because actually your body and your ego were never meant to drive the car. The ego got treated like a petri dish for the matrix and all of its programs. The ego itself is no problem. It's just your survival mechanism in your body. But you are not your body. You are the caretaker of the child of God that is your body. And so as you are working in that, when you switch places and you say, I'm going to drive the car, that's you waking up. That is you dissolving your identity. You are no longer the body named Elizabeth. You have access to the divine power that runs the entire universe, and you can feel it. And as you keep practicing that, the body will relax, the body will heal. Despite anything you've been through, the body's going to heal. And the more you keep using your imaging, the better. And so, it works. It works because you continue to work with the actual mechanics of the universe, no longer what the matrix taught you. So you don't know, but your soul knows. Your soul knows how to work with the divine order. So another problem will arise, like, you know, for myself, I deal with a lot of physical pain, just like so many of us. And I'll say, you know, in divine order, I'm offering this up to you, source, as a source of power and energy, because that's what pain is. It's power. It's literal pure energy. I'm just pumping out huge amounts of energy. And I say, take it and use it in the divine order, in the divine will. Let it be so that these things are used to create miracles. And then the path opens up, the waters part. And it becomes very measurable. You can see it immediately. But this is the day-to-day of this, where you're constantly noticing objectively what seems like a block, and all you have to do is say, let it be so that this is dissolved in divine timing, because of the divine will, because it's my divine right to have no obstacles. You got to know your rights. And when you know your rights, you know your responsibilities. And your responsibility is to think and say and act in that divinity. That's what being this human who toggles between trying to help the other humans get out of the matrix and then get used to living out in natural law, let alone building cool stuff in natural law. The building of it's happening. It's getting some traction, but that it's going to be so immense, because as the matrix shifts and dissolves as it's meant to in divine timing, and again, remember, it was built in natural law. It had to exist. All the pressure you've been under had to happen. It was necessary. You appreciate it on the other side of it, because you'll see more and more, like I said, that the pressure has forced you to innovate, has forced you to seek out this truth that I'm saying. And that you, as a being of awareness who has access to all the dimensions, unlike most beings in the universe, that you're the creator. So you get to decide whether or not that brick wall exists or not. And the superpowers of the human, the siddhas, the 144,000 siddhas, people have that word or that number in their mind, but they don't realize it's actually the number of superpowers we have. It's not the number of people who are going to get saved like some people think. It's the number of superpowers built into our awareness field because of the access to the 12 dimensions that we have and the way our biology is tied to that in a unique way. But that's all going to become more and more apparent, and you're going to start seeing this in the media. Like, I'm not joking. You're literally going to start seeing, because they won't be able to deny it, and the media is going to try to spin it. So just watch. I'm making a prediction here. I don't normally do that, but you're going to see it. You're going to see more and more weird miracles start to show up, and the media is going to try to spin it and control it and control the narrative, and it won't work. And then you're going to see more and more weird stuff happen on the earth, more very, very strange events that some of them are human made, because we're actually in a very huge global world war at the moment, and it's unlike any other war we've ever had. So we're not fully reacting to it like we should, but the miracle part is equally going to continue to be really, really apparent. And the media, the dark order, will continue to try to spin it and try to control the narrative, and they won't be able to, because it's not stuff that they can explain. So there's going to be natural events that seem completely out of this world. And it's because we're dealing with a new place in space in a very galactic situation. The fact that the sun is running the show, they're not going to be able to hide that anymore. And all the superpowers of humans are going to get really, really magnified in the field, and they're not going to be able to control that narrative either. It'll be very apparent in your 3D real life in front of you. So, and for yourself. So, the other thing I want to point out is that, hey, there's a lot of stuff from our New Age community that got twisted. And I want you to stop putting all of your eggs into externalized power baskets. There is not going to be some spaceship saving anybody. Don't worry about any of that. It's not about that. No one needs to be saved. We need to be evolved. So there isn't any saving to be done. We're here to evolve, and it's uncomfortable. It's meant to be uncomfortable. All the old has to burn away. At the other side of it, though, is the recognition that all the effort that you have to put in it is the thoughts, the correct thoughts, right words, right deeds from your soul. That's it. Nothing more. You don't have to beg. You don't have to plead. You do not have to feel like you're utterly powerless. That's all an illusion. It's the other way around. You have all the power. Try it. So let me give you another example. Some really difficult stuff was coming up for me, and so I instead of going into problem solving mode, I've had to literally retrain my brain the past year and a half on how to do this. But if I can do it, because I've got a powerful mind too, like you, if I can do it, you can. so, and normally I would go into counselor mode, counseling myself, like, well, what would I tell myself? What relationship skills would I apply here? I've stopped doing that. Instead, I say, let it be so that this is fully resolved exactly the way it has to. Nothing more, nothing less. It is my divine right to have the exact right, perfect relationships in my life. And it's become more and more apparent to me that problems aren't really the problem. It's that we have not believed, we have not utterly, totally allowed ourselves to have a divine response, that we are vessels of the divine will. We have not allowed it because we weren't allowed to do that in our families, in the matrix, in our structures. Now you are. You have no choice. You are out in the wilderness. And the window in the dark is a glimpse of the wild nature of the universe, and that you're free. You're utterly free in that. So I no longer sit there and think about how I'm going to solve all my problems anymore. I simply put my awareness on the divinity of the situation, and they resolve utterly beyond my imagination in ways that actually are ideal. Because I'd always hoped You know, oh, if I only put the work in, if I'm a little bit kinder, if I put this one boundary down, maybe they'll be nice to me. Sound familiar? If I do what they tell me to do, if I follow the law, if I follow what they want me to do, could be really any level of consciousness, then maybe it'll work out. If I use these techniques and tools, if then, drop it. You can't. You never could. It's only ever going to be divine order that pans out. So I'm trying to make it practical, but I'm talking about a way of life and a place of living that human beings are feeling that's there, but they don't know how to live in the savannah. Right? So does that make sense, Alara?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, so much is coming up for me, and I'm sure a lot is coming up for everybody else as well. But it this also brings up the whole idea or frequency of trusting in the divine order and trusting in the divine, trusting in divine timing, and trusting that all is perfect as it is, anyways, right? Um, and that it'll all work out in divine timing. A lot of trust, a lot of
It's
trust
because
there.
it has to, though. It's because it has to, and it's not your soul who has to trust. The
No,
soul already is in it. The soul comes
yeah,
from source directly and never left. It's your body.
yeah,
It's your body. So
yeah.
you start talking to your body and you say, "You're safe, Shefali. I love you." And you speak as the Divine Mother to your own body.
Yes, I felt that. Yeah, yeah. You're right. Thank you. Beautiful. Oh, bringing
We're
me
in
to
like,
tears.
we get to, that's because we actually get to decide now how we're gonna be from here. And we've never been able to been allowed to have that choice. Not in 800,000 years. So are we going to continue to live in fight or flight or freeze mode? Because I'm real sick of it.
Oh,
My my
exactly.
my
No more.
adrenaline's been shot. Like,
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
I'm on the phone with so many of you doing sessions and um, witnessing this, you know, some of these really horrific things coming up and really, really beautiful things coming up. And still watching us and with such grace and love transform our relationship with one another, soul to soul. It's soul to soul now.
Mm.
And it's the body. It's the body who's worried, who keeps taking the wrong left turns in the wrong town. And
Yeah.
it's the body. So the body is a child of God. The body is a child of the earth. And it's the body. You are not your body. This is a very important separation. The I am present is not the body. It's bigger than the body. It's a quality that comes directly from that glorious omnipotence of the divine. So that is who you really are. That's actually part of the release of identity, is the experience of perceiving yourself as the immortal soul and it not going away. You don't, once you get that awakened state, you open that window and you take that breath of air, that window doesn't shut. It's not temporary, but you got to do some releasing of what you think you are. And that's why ritual helps.
Hmm.
That's why ritual helps, where you go in and you get on your knees and you hand it off and you burn your identity. You release it into the river. You bury it, whatever
Yeah,
you got to do.
yeah, yeah. And I think that is, I was, when you mentioned that originally about the ritual, I was going to ask you, did you ever do a call or something like that around doing a ritual around surrendering your identity? See, I can't even say the words. Surrendering your identity.
Not exactly, but I've embedded it a lot. And if
Okay.
people want more direction, just message me on my website. Because if you need any resources for trauma healing or identity or genetic healing, just message me and we will make sure that you get that.
I'm
I got
putting my
lots
hand
of,
up for the ritual for the
you got it.
identity thing.
So I'll make sure my assistant gives you
Yeah.
links, Shefali, and we can just try to make sure they're freely out there. And anything that I hand you like that, friends, share it freely. This not copywritten. It's not copyrighted. So make sure you
Awesome.
just
Thank you.
share it. Yeah.
I will. Yeah, thank you.
We
Because
need
I
it.
think for me that's a big piece. I'm at that point where I'm at the window, wanting to open the window. If
Yes.
you, I mean, even just this past week, I've had these really significant experiences that are. I don't want to talk about it live on the call, but I've had these significant experiences, and so they have reframed uh, and helped me remember some things that have that. Anyway, so
Yes,
I'm
I
at, I'm at,
understand.
I'm at that I'm at that point. So it's like, um, and then I had a session with one of my mentors yesterday, and it also was helpful in clearing up and releasing some of those things that were in the way, of me just being me without all
Yeah,
those platforms interrupting
I
or.
agree. So many now, uh, I don't really care to say things like I'm awake or whatever. I'm experiencing something that I would call being awake. But one of the most important factors in that is that you can't walk forward into it. Now you can open the window, you can get that breath of fresh air, and then you got to walk out of the matrix. And
Yeah.
but the key is that once you're willing to open the door, you don't march forward into natural law. You turn around and you do one of those, like, I always thought they were so funny, a trust fall.
Hmm. Yeah, that's
You
what I was just seeing
trust
in my
fall.
head. Yeah.
You do a trust fall into being awake,
Yeah.
because what that is you're letting your soul hold you.
Hmm.
You're letting your soul hold you. You're letting your body trust fall. You're letting her go, and
Yeah.
or him. You're letting him go, and you're trust falling into your soul, into God's arms, and then you're awake. And it doesn't stop. It doesn't end. But what it feels like is it feels like stillness, and that stillness grows. And you begin to be aware that, oh, yeah, you're right. I can totally objectify the problems now. Like, they're not in me, they're not part of me. They're right there in front of me for me to be able to dissolve in my awareness. All I have to do is put my awareness on it and start acting and saying and thinking in the divine will, and blam, there it is. And then as you continue, you'll be able to perceive. So those of you who can psychically see stuff, not everybody's meant to, by the way, so don't worry about all of that. If you can psychically see stuff, you're going to see this quality of light. And the Buddhists call it the clear light, but it is a quality of light. And it's so bright, but it's so pure, and it's very, very still. It doesn't move. It's a field that's always there. We call it the void. The void permeates all universes, but it's because everything arises from the void. That light is in everything. In the problems, it's in the most evil people in the whole entire world. It's in everything. It's in everything. And that that's what you're calling on. That's divine order. That's the energy that runs the machine that is the universe. So you'll perceive it. For those of you who are empaths, you'll feel it. It'll feel like a permeating stillness that's in everything. And you it feels like pure heaven. It's where that idea of bliss comes from. And it's permanent. And then it doesn't mean that your body's not going to react. It doesn't mean that you don't have trauma, but it's going to be a lot easier to perceive it. It's going to be a lot easier to recognize that that too is also born of and going back home to this stillness. And then the last awareness so far, I mean, I'm sure there's more, but I'm still on a journey too. The last awareness that I've had is that, well, not only are all of these things basically living, it's everything's alive, but it's all the molecules and atoms and all these things, they're all going through this beautiful movement. It's the Maya, it's the dance that they come in, they get to have a life, however long that might be. You know, for planets and stars, it's really, really long time. You know, for angels, it's the whole existence of the universe. For souls, it's going to be all sorts of different costumes to try on. But it could be objects, it could be anything. It's all made of this consciousness, and it has a life, and it is going to come into the universe, move around, do their dance, and then go back home. And that it's a constant, it is consistent. That's what the machine looks like. And that even Buddha and Hitler, you know, as different as their trajectories were, they went home to the same place. And that's why the matrix exists. That's why evil exists. It's not to piss you off or hurt you. It's because consciousness naturally has to go through contractions. Planets start out as a whole lot of asteroids that get electromagnetically attracted to one another and slam into one another, and eventually create a bigger planetoid and another bigger thing and another bigger thing until they become a planet. Earth's a little different because we're made of a bunch of things, but this place was created on purpose by us. But even that trajectory, you know, why do you think the Earth hasn't kicked all the humans off? Because we have an intimate, very long karmic relationship with Gaia. And she doesn't want to kick us off. She wants to see us succeed. We're doing it together. And she's going to magnify our evolution. So everything I say right now is being magnified in consciousness. Everything that we're feeling all together on this call is being magnified and made available. Have no doubt that that's the case. And then the phenomena is really cool, because then you can see that once you acknowledge that something has been put under pressure, maybe your relationship, maybe your job, maybe your relationship with money or whatever, you pick something human. And once it's put under pressure, that it has nowhere else to go except the breakthrough. And that's all of us as a species. That's our whole civilization on this planet is going through that now. There's nowhere else for us to go except to go back through the infinite back and forth of consciousness under pressure and then going into release. We are now well on our way into release. That's why it feels so intense and even perhaps unmanageable. But that's not your job. You're not supposed to manage all that. It's the job of the physics of consciousness that arise from source directly. You don't have to run the machine. You have to acknowledge your body and how it exists here as part of the machine, and that your soul is part of the fuel that runs it. So if you allow yourself that perspective, that's the steps. And it's from one person's viewpoint. It's from one soul's vantage point of what that's been like for myself to go through. If you want to accelerate this, because everybody does, if you want to accelerate this, then go be in service. Volunteer. Give to charity. Do more do more, be in service, and it will accelerate everything. Service is serve your body, for goodness sakes. If people are like, well, I'm sick, I'm disabled, I don't have any money, I don't have time, I got to work 5 jobs to pay my bills. That's okay. Then use your imagination in service. Imagine better things for humanity. The more you do that, the more it gets magnified and made available for those possibilities to occur. Your imagination is under serious threat right now, and all of this incredible amount of pressure is on humans to create what the Matrix wants you to create, respond how the Matrix wants you to create. So if you can get your mind back, track the mind control so you can claim your mind back as the soul in charge, then your mind becomes in service, your imagination becomes in service, and that's more than enough. And then offer up your suffering. That's treasure. It's dense. So you hand it off. It's gold. Say, I'm spending it now. I'm going to spend all my genetic lineage's treasure now because we can't keep carrying this. It's too heavy. What are we going to do with it? You can't eat money. So you can't eat suffering. So you spend it. And you keep systematically, the more uncomfortable you are, the more you have to spend. So you keep offering it. Hey, I want it to go to all the children on the earth. I want to protect all the animals. Let it be so. Take this suffering, take this anxiety I have, take it and you bring it to the machine, you bring it to source, and it becomes perfect fuel for miracles. Now, the cool part too is that later, when you're ready to leave the body with conscious death, hopefully all of us will be able to achieve that most excellent outcome. That's the best healed outcome. Then you get to actually see later where all those beautiful prayers and beautiful imaginings and the offering up of your suffering, what it all actually did. What it all actually did. All those little compliments you gave to people, what it actually did in consciousness. And I can tell you what it does. It creates huge amounts of change, mind-blowing. It's very hard for us to perceive it when we're working with the body. But beyond the body, you'll be able to actually get to have that chance to see how all of that actually affected reality so that you can appreciate from my vantage point now. I'm telling you, you can appreciate, you ought to appreciate all of those little efforts. They count. They're actually really big in consciousness. You're a lot bigger in consciousness than you think. You have a cosmic self. You have a universal self. That's what the dimensions are. So we could go on, but I think that illustrates the point of what it's like to work like this.
Yeah, thank you. I needed to hear that. I've got chills all over, and I'm like, I have tears, but I definitely needed to hear that because there are times when I feel that it doesn't matter what I do, it's not making a difference, you know. Um, so thank you. I needed to hear that.
When that shows up, pat your body on her back and say, my dear, my love, Shefali, you're being lied to. That's mind control. You don't need that. Every single thought and word makes a difference.
Yeah, thank you. So normally when you are, oh, are you still there?
Yes.
Normally when you're here, you're on the computer, so you see all the chat, all the comments in the chat and the questions in the chat. But today you cannot. So do you want to just take a few questions and I'll offer up some of the comments from the chat as well?
Yeah, sure. I can actually see the chat.
Oh, can you? Okay.
But
I wasn't
if
sure.
you want to pick, make it easier.
Okay, well, so we have some people with their hands raised, and but there was a question, and Lara who had asked a question in the chat. So, Lara, you want to unmute and ask your question now, live?
Sure. Thank you, Safari. I'm Laura. Hi, Elizabeth.
Oh, Laura.
I absolutely adore just being in your presence, and I really want to move to Ecuador and study under you.
Oh, that's
Um, I
very kind. Thank you, Laura.
I don't remember what my question was now because I had put it in a while ago. Do you have it pulled up right now?
I think it was around wanting to go to Ecuador but not having any money and being on disability or something like that. And how do you do that? Not in a practical sense, but do you just trust and surrender to Gaia? Something like that.
I just pulled it. Thank you. Thank you. That's what it is basically. Like I really am. I'm going to be getting a lump sum of money from disability, and I've been feeling a pull to do something like to buy an RV and go across America. But that doesn't feel right either because of all the turmoil that's going on here. And so
Mm-hmm.
then, like, the more I study with you, the more I'm like, I just want to go to Ecuador and be your apprentice or something. And then, so is it possible to not possible. Anything's possible. Can I get there without, and is it like a trust fall, I guess, to just go there with whatever money I have in my pocket and somehow survive?
Well, to a certain extent, the hardest part about coming to any country, including Ecuador, is that you can live here 6 months with a tourist visa, but you're going to have to get paperwork done to get a temporary visa and then a permanent one, and you got to be prepared for what that takes. And if I were you, I'd be getting all that paperwork done first because it's much more expensive to do it when you're out overseas. Because you gotta get a lot of apostles, and it can be it can take some time. So if I were you, that's where I'd start, is getting the right paperwork in order. And there's a lot of very good bilingual people to help you to do that. And I'm quite happy to, if you email me, I'll send you someone that can help you get some things started. And I mean, yeah, I mean, it's actually quite easy to live here because we use the dollar. It's extremely cheap for everyone who's suffering from inflation. There's a lot more people, extranjeros is what we're called, coming here, all different caliber levels of spiritual capability. Lots of folks like you who might be on disability, but it goes way farther here to make that happen. So I'm 100% all for people coming, and if people want to come and we can learn together and do stuff together, that's great because there's lots to do. I love that idea. I'm all for it. So the that being said, you do want to try, if you can, to visit first because this place is very, very intense. 90% of the couples that I know who've moved here got divorced because it will magnify every little tiny bit of shadow in you. And if you don't have the tools and if you don't know how to do that work, then it will take you over. So I always warn people. And if you want to know what it's like to think things and then have them become real, this is Alice in Wonderland for sure. This is Wizard of Oz down here. So, and like I said, it's gonna end up coming across for the whole planet in the exact same way. But if you want a taste of it beforehand, then yeah, you should come. But you should always visit someplace before you decide to move. There's lots of pros, there's lots of cons. Like, write me, and I'll help you with the practical ideas and things like that, and give you an idea of what to do. Now, what I get is the same sense that I've also had, is that we must travel light. We must be willing to move around quite a bit the next few years if we're being called to that. Or some of you are being asked to anchor very deeply into the place on earth that you're at and to just truly become one with the planet in that spot. So that's okay too. For myself, I thought I had a spot, and that's not what Source had planned. And we have to be obedient to the divine will, but it will show up like really obvious. Right. So like for me, it was 4 different women in 24 hours saying, Elizabeth, if you don't move, then you're going to die. Like literally that happened. And I was like, oh, wow. Well, I don't want to know what the next step of Source telling me what to do is going to look like. So I'm going to start packing. And that's exactly what I did. And I had to move. But I moved within a couple of weeks. It was instant. All my animals found homes, etc. So be obedient to that feeling. You're being compelled to be fluid and downsize and start selling stuff and giving things away so that it's easier for you to bounce around if you have to. So yeah, write me and I'll give you more details and more ideas, because there's a lot to say about this culture and why you might want to move here, and considerations to make, because I've been here for 5 years. It takes a couple of years to acclimate to this place, so it's not quick. And your biome too, your bacteria has to get used to it too.
True.
Fun.
Thank you, Laura.
So much, Elizabeth. I really appreciate you.
Hopefully that helps.
I love it. I'm so here for you.
All right. Caroline, you had your hand raised for a long time. You have a question for Elizabeth? Oh, there she is.
Whole call.
Hi.
Hi, my beautiful.
We can hardly hear you, Caroline.
I'm just floating.
Okay.
I'm just floating this whole call. Oh my gosh, it's like a Bible for life. Wow. Amazing.
That's so
Amazing.
sweet.
Like,
Thank you.
literally, I'm just like every cell in my body are just like twinkling. So thank you so much. Yeah. Can I move in?
I know, right? It feels so good. And this is actually the feeling. It's us wanting to create community in the natural order of things, in natural law. It's a good feeling.
Yeah. I also want to buy your business program, and I don't have the money. And I also need a new car. It's 20 years old. It's been a dream
Oh
of
yeah,
mine.
that's an old car. Jeez.
It's almost 400,000 Ks, and I don't have the money to buy a new one or another one right now.
But
So
you know my answer.
the whole money
If you
thing, yes.
want something, if any of you want to do something with me, just email me and we can do payment plans that work for you. Right? And it doesn't matter how little that might be. I never ever deny people access to stuff. I might not do discounts, but I will do payment plans. I'll do discounts depending on the thing, like in certain classes. And the business program, it is so different than anything I've ever done, and I'm so glad that we're doing it, and I want you there. But like I said, don't deny yourself. Just even if it's like, I got $10 a month, just show up.
Okay.
And just ask and think about it. That's in a practical way for you. And then let's go from there. I'll never deny people access.
Okay, my beautiful. And what about just like money? I know that the old way of attracting money is different. And I heard everything on your call. There's this longing inside of me for a piece of land, a couple horses, a dog, and I can do teachings on this land. I can hold workshops, and I've seen this forever, right? But it's the money to get the land, to buy, to build the house, or
You're not going to need that. No, see, the financial system is gone. There is no money. Every single dollar is actually debt. It's not even money. Don't worry. If you have the vision and it pervades, meaning that it just doesn't go away no matter how much work you do on yourself, then that's the pervading dream, we might call it, the dream. The dream that's already there, the soul has it. And what the soul's alluding to is a future. And that those what I'm perceiving, because I'm talking to all these people all over the world, is they're completely over this whole idea of normal ownership. They're certainly not interested in communism as it's being presented now, but they also don't want to do stuff alone, and they know they can't. We can't be living in little suburbs, where you don't know your neighbors anymore. It's not going to work. Instead, we have to come together, and what'll happen is that that'll fall in place. There'll be events that occur that make it so that you have to do that. Not that you even want it, you'll have to. And so the business program will help you to build the mystical part first and understand what the due diligence is, where while the matrix exists, you have to do these things, checklists XYZ to make stuff work with the governance. But all money is containers for energy. It's no different than blowing bubbles in the air. This is really no different than.
Is there a time frame that we're looking at, whatever that is?
5 years.
Okay.
Look, next year, the way that we see money is going to completely change. And literally, in 1 year, it's not going to look at all the same. And over the next 5 years, everything, the way we interact, the way we're going to make stuff work for and with each other, it's going to have to be alternative. It's not just like that I'm telling you some ideas about possibilities. I've been talking about these things for a long time, trying to teach people about how to change their mindset and their thinking about stuff, because they'll have to. But you're not going to use what I've told you until you have to, because the money will be, still exchanged the way it is. Yeah, I wouldn't put too much worry into it. The car will come if you keep telling God that, hey, it's my divine right to have the exact right transportation I need. And then God's like, yeah, I know, which is why your car's going to break down, and now I'm giving you 2 horses. Like, that's how it's going to be. Or like in my case, it'll be like, well, yeah, I know, which is why now you suddenly have another vehicle on hand, so, like magically. It's going to happen quite quickly in ways that you can't fathom. Or I want this business program. Well, yeah, I know. So Elizabeth's going to tell you to pay what she can and show up. All you have to do is just show up. So it's simply that you have to keep putting it to the field, right? If you want this to work for you, it's about physics. So you keep saying it. It's my divine right to have the exact right property that my soul has dreamed up. It's beyond me. And you can feel it, because that's exactly how it feels in the body. Is it seems like it's just there, heavenly, beyond you. It's almost like the visions or the dream just shows up and it's there. And it's so easy to see, so easy to feel. But yeah, I mean, drop the concept of wanting or desire or fear, and then the relationship with whatever's showing up will be a lot easier. So you can still toggle, you can still deal with money as it is, however it's changing, and you can still be working with the dream of what it will be, what it naturally has to be. And then these things will absolutely pan out. It's simply that you're going to have to learn how to live in natural law. So, yeah, I mean, I've had to practice this in no easy terms. And when I had to move, I said, all right, I'm all packed. I have nowhere to live now. Can you please give me a house? It's divine timing, and you wanted me to move 2 weeks ago. So where do you want me to live? And then I get a phone call like that same evening. Hey, Elizabeth, your lawyer's renting his house out, and it has a pool and a hot tub and a steam room and 5 bathrooms, and he's renting it for $700 a month. And I'm like, what? and so I come to his house, check it out. I'm like, when did you decide to rent your house? He's like, yesterday. Right? So that's how fast this happens. It can. And it's going to happen faster and faster for everybody else. Like I said, I'm on the equator, so I'm watching how fast it happens real quick. But you have to be obedient real quick too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
move or die. Okay. Pack your house now. Got it. Done. Like, so you're moving quick. And you won't, it'll be so stunning that you'll be like, oh my gosh, like, wow, that really happened quick. Now I gotta make this work. And you just go into full receiving mode and make it work. That's how fast, and like, you can have what you need. It's gonna work. It's your divine right to have everything and more. Now, the other thing about money is if you want more abundance, which is food, medicine, love, relationships, money, housing, all these things, animals, then you have to give. You have to make room. You have to give. Be as generous as possible. Be in service. Make room for it. You can give your suffering. If you got nothing else to give your suffering. Give all the time. And you're making room. It's the physics of divine order. You're making room to receive. It's your divine right to succeed in all of this. And what success looks like is having more than enough to share. It has nothing to do with money. Money's just a Tupperware. It's a container. That's it. So that's how I see it. Yeah, I got you.
Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go to Sarah real quick. Sarah, you have a question?
Yes. Hi.
Hi, Sarah.
Elizabeth. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Well,
Thank you. You look
just
great.
heard a lot of it. Okay. May you be blessed in every way that, change your, as they say in Jewish, change your location, change your mazel, change your luck, change your constellations. So may it be a complete flow of good and joy. Yeah, and just enough suffering to be able to pay our way in the world. So I think I identify with what Shefali is saying about her life, though I do not know the specifics. But it's been a really rough ride. And just when I think, okay, smooth driving now, like somebody did a little clearing for me, and that was delightful. And what she had to tell me was delightful, but it must have not completely cleared, or something from a past life came up, and I was heartbroken and sad and depressed. And it was like, where did this come from? So spent a few days clearing that. My main question actually is about free will. And if all the things that we're going through are part of what we wrote out in our life contract before we came, or what was, kind of thrown in by the divine or our spirit guides, yeah, when I'm going through all of this stuff, yeah, it is just keep putting one foot in front of the other. But I wonder if, but I'm delighted to hear the idea of paying it forward with our suffering.
Yeah.
That just, wow, I've got a huge bank account I can
Right. You're so rich.
to draw on. And that was like, wow, that's great. But do we have to do it daily? Can we make a declaration once? So that's one question. The other question is about free will. How much of the choices that we're making are not really choices because there's no free will?
Right. So let me address first the declaration piece. We have many bodies all mooshed into one, and that seems like one, but they're light bodies, and they are all connected to these different dimensions, and they're all anchored in those places, and they all work as one. So that's why I think some of the ancient depictions of like gods and goddesses and powerful people, they had many faces, they had many arms. It wasn't because they actually had that. It's a they're alluding to the many light bodies. You can actually ask perpetually one of your light bodies The fifth dimensional one, which is accessing all your timelines and possibilities, is a good one to do that with. And you command it. You're the commander of your body. So you command that light body with love. You say, let it be so that you're perpetually offering up all my genetic suffering at the exact right rate that is required for the exact right divine miracles. And you say it out loud. You maintain that awareness. You just keep checking in a little bit with it, making sure it feels right, the amount that's happening, and then allow that to perpetually happen in the background. So we can command all these different light bodies to do many things for us perpetually. And there isn't any reason why not. We're busy. We got stuff to do in the 3D. We got dreams to have. So the other thing is, no, there's no contracts. There's really not any free will either. It's not about contracts. It's about, and here's why. Because the universe is, it's the prismatic nature of God getting an opportunity to create novel experience. And that opportunity is created because it's so. So it's not contracts, it's opportunities. It's not free will, it's the novel experience of God through you. And that you is multifold. It's the soul, it's the body, and it's the body's relationship with all of the other aspects of consciousness. So if someone said it's not a machine, it's a living organism, I like that. I think, but I would just remind you that DNA is technology. And so all organisms, we say organisms, you're talking about things that have DNA, have consciousness, and everything's conscious. All your cup of coffee is conscious. It has a relationship with you. So it is a type of machine. We might say a universe is a kind of machine, like also a planet is, or a star, or a human body. That's why I call it that. But there is no easy way to say this, but I simply don't think, as I've sat in the void long enough, I don't see contracts. I don't see, oh, well, you're only welcome to toggle in between, being in the arms of God and being in the universe as long as you have these parameters. There aren't any. And the free will, that's the illusion of the human body where you keep identifying with the body. The soul is not so worried about those sorts of things. It's only the divine will. And that's why we set it aside and we keep putting our own fear and desire dynamics aside. That's the exact nature of free will. So although it's a very esoteric answer, I think you get the idea, and that you have the sky's the limit. Whatever you want to imagine is exactly what's possible. And you can't imagine anything new because God already made it. God already made it. There's nothing new. So everyone's worried about being psychic or imagination or all this. So am I just making it up? And I'm like, well, but you can't make anything new. You can only ask to play with whatever extremes you want to play with. What's available? Well, what's not available? So I like to say, flip the pancake. Revel in the fact that your will is divine. Revel in the fact that there are no contracts. There's no boundaries. Sure, you came in with certain parameters. Those are just an illusion. And I know so because when I was 2 years old, I looked in the mirror and said, I have no idea who this is, but it's not me. And I thought, what an interesting body. This little girl named Elizabeth. And I knew it even then that I was not what I was seeing in the mirror, that I was something much bigger and older and more capable. And that's the truth. So if a 2-year-old can look in the mirror and sense that and perceive that, then the sky's the limit. the game, it's more like a game, you know. You come in and you say, all right, we started here on the game board. Could have been in, you know, sub-Sahara Africa. It could have been all these other places, but we started here with these people and this culture and this language. And now what? But really, you're not limited at all by any of those things, including the genetic trauma, which what happens if you spend it all? That's what we're heading towards. So spend it all. We don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows because no one's done it yet. But it's us who are going to do it. That's the cool part. So Homo sapiens are novel too. It's all novel. Earth is novel. Nobody had created a planet before. Not like this. And we did it. So nothing is impossible.
Okay. So that free will thing doesn't seem clear to me at all, but I'll go back and listen to this again. And
Let your free will be free to be divine.
okay.
That's the short. Your free will is free to be divine. It's the new bumper sticker.
And the other question was, if I want to spend this huge bank account I have of suffering, can I make the declaration once, or do I have to do it every day or over time? Today I wish
She
to.
answered that at the beginning, but I
Oh,
think you
okay.
missed it. It's a big, wonderful explanation. I loved it. I thought you got it because I remember I looked at your face and it seemed like, okay, that makes sense. But
Okay.
I'm
I'll go
gonna.
back. I'll go.
No, it's
It's
okay. Go.
okay. The
It's
quick short answer is set your ask one of your light bodies to handle it,
Right. Never.
and you
Thank
only
you.
do it
Okay.
once. So you're
Yes.
right. You don't have to keep doing it all the time. But
Yes.
if new suffering comes up, then yeah, take your divine free will and say, let it be so that this is spent now immediately. I don't want to carry it around.
Okay. Good idea.
Yeah,
And
that's where I'm at now. I'm like,
yeah.
we
I
got a
love it.
lot to spend.
Yeah, exactly. We have a lot to spend. I'm gonna be definitely spending my trauma.
Gosh, yes.
Yeah. Thank
yeah.
you for that question,
Okay.
Sarah.
Thank you,
Yes,
Elizabeth.
thank you.
Lovely to
Very
see you.
rich. And I receive your blessings every day. Thank you, Sarah.
I send them every day.
I know.
So thank you. All right, we're gonna go to Asha quickly, and then there's one more quick little question in the chat, I think, that I want to address.
Hi,
Just because I
Shefali.
feel. Hi.
Hi, Asha.
Hello, hi, Sarah. How are you? I hopefully you guys can hear me. I am trying to be as loud as possible.
Yep.
So, just listening to everyone's responses, I think in bits and pieces, my own question was answered, but I'll ask it anyways. Maybe it's a little bit different, but also this last quarter, I feel, or has been really tumultuous and difficult. And I also have the same mentality as to whatever happens, happens. Not that I'm giving up or anything. It's just, what can I do? I'm just going with the flow. Right. But is there anything I can do differently to help maybe take more control over um, those bumpy patch or things that I'm not liking?
Yes. Learn more about your divine rights. And your divine rights, you'll get used to it. At first, it was like awkward. I'm like, do I really deserve all this? And then the ego stuff came in to be cleaned up. But every time, so like, let's say you have had trouble with work, right? Everybody's crazy at work and you want a different job. Then what are you doing? You're putting it to the divine order. You're putting it to natural law and source from which it all arises. The source God's what runs the show. It's the fuel that runs everything. It's the light that maintains the movement of the universe. And you're basically putting it to that light. You're putting it to that awareness. We call it God, but that's what we're doing. And we say, it's my divine right to have the exact right job for the exact right pay, right? And or a relationship problem arises. It's my divine right to have the exact right relationships and healed outcomes in those relationships, to have the exact right problems so that I can grow and be better in this relationship. Because none of us are perfect in relationship. And so everything that you think that you might have a right to, you do. So, like Asha, name me something. Like, give me a brief problem, like one sentence. Name a problem that's really bugging you right now.
Work.
Yeah. So can you perceive when I say it's your divine right to have the exact right job and the exact right coworkers or the exact right clients? It's my divine right to have them. Where do you feel that in your body?
My heart space, it lit up.
Yes.
Just saying that.
Hmm. And so right now with that problem, I want you to repeat it throughout the day out loud. And you want to say it. It's my divine right to have the exact right job, the exact right clients, the exact right pay. Let it be so. And then let it go. It's like you put that message out into the field. This is why the new age craziness around manifesting isn't real and doesn't work. Because they didn't teach you the most important part, which is that you should hand it off. You need to hand it off. Source can't do anything with what you want. You have to recognize your right, name it, and hand it off to Source so that Source can do something with it. So that is the way we work in creation. You need to know what your rights are. So start with that one. And then start to look at the other corners of your life and start claiming your rights. When you claim them, they can actually unfold. And you're not going to necessarily be able to imagine what's possible. You don't want to. Otherwise, it's in a box. And you want to work with the infinite and all these possibilities that are beyond your awareness that you're not capable of wrapping your mind around. So you give it, keep giving it. And then you're suffering around your job. I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I feel ignored, I'm unseen, I'm alone. All of those are very dense, and you can say, here's alone, here's frustration, here you go, take it, Source, and make miracles for all the other people too in the world who are struggling with their work. Then you're being generous. And in generosity, you're literally physically making room to receive better pay, better work, better colleagues, better clients. This is how it works. It's literal, it's factual, it's measurable. Try it. And start to look everywhere you can for your divine rights, and you say it out loud, and then you end it. Let it be so, and then let it go. Right? Does that sound doable?
Oh my gosh, beautiful. I love it, Elizabeth. It sounds amazing.
Now, I'm not the creator of this at all. This has been hidden from us. This is why natural law has to be stated out loud and practiced now by all of us. We got to bring it to the forefront now. And you can do it immediately. You're doing it. You can feel it. It makes your heart light up because your soul moves through the heart space, and your heart feels immense and can connect to everything else. It's because all of Indra's net lights up when you're willing to take your divine position in natural and divine order. That's why it feels good.
Absolutely. It
A
feels
lot less work.
truthful. Yeah, it definitely. It's not like manifesting techniques where there's resistance and you can sense and feel it, or you're not 100% sure, but that feels uh very light, and there was no resistance in just saying those simple statements. I mean, they're not simple because they're powerful, but yet they're not wordy. So I
Yes.
like that.
Yeah, I'm so glad. Yeah, and someone to that all of us can study more. Florence Scovel Shin,
Hmm.
and it's spelled Scovel, and her second last name is Shinn. She was in the 1920s and talks a lot about all of your divine rights. Go listen to her audiobook called "My Word Is My Wand." And it's just all these divine rights. And she also gives examples like I am about how they really work. And she was way ahead of her time. So, I mean, this stuff's been around. We've just been kept from it. And now it's time. It's time for us to ground ourselves in that. That's the new world.
I love it. Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
You're welcome, Asha.
Awesome. Thank you, Asha. Great question. Thank you.
Thanks.
Um, um, so there was a question from Linda, but I think you just answered it, to be honest. And it was about how do we manage the continual roller coaster of emotions and who is feeling them. But, like what you just shared about, you have an emotion, whether it's anger, frustration, whatever it happens to be, and you offer it up to the divine, to source. Um, is there anything else that you wanted to add to that? Because I thought that was a pretty complete answer for that question.
Yeah, the uh the emotional piece is your body, right? So the embodiment, we have a whole system in our body that's totally dedicated to emotional response. Now, if we were all living in natural law, let's say we actually ground the future, then we're meant to, which is we become a different type of human, which myself and other mystics are calling homo luminous. It's not something that we made up. It's coming from source. And the emotional body is part of your body. So when we have very extreme emotions, usually it's because there's a version of you, oftentimes a child version, though not always, that didn't get their needs met. And so we'll have these really extreme reactions to stuff, and we'll be like, I feel out of control. And it's actually not you, it's your body, and it's a part of your subconscious who didn't get their needs met, and they don't have any other choice but to lose their ever loving little mind to get your attention. And so you begin to objectify that, and you say, hey, little me, hey, body, I'm here. I've got you. What do you need right now? And you listen, and you will be told. And then this is the part that most people don't get taught. Then you have to imagine a healed outcome, right? So let's say somebody gaslights you, and you're so fed up with all the narcissists, and you can't handle it anymore. And you have this really extreme reaction to the gaslighting. Even if the person didn't even necessarily mean it or whatever, they were unconscious about it. Well, it's a part of you who got gaslit before, whose needs weren't met. And if you can catch that reaction and own it, no one can make you feel anything. Now, people have to be responsible, but you can own it. You say, all right, I'm having this reaction. You objectify it. It's not you, it's your body, and it's a part of your subconscious. And you say, all right, that part of me needs addressed. It doesn't really matter what age they are, really, but you address it. You talk to the body from this soul's voice that is very immense, the commander. And you say, what do you need right now exactly? And you'll hear it, you'll feel it. It'll be a list of stuff. What's going on is you're experiencing a side of a polarity. So, I'll have a lot of people come and they'll be like, Elizabeth, where's the joy? I have experienced every level of despair that I thought was possible. Where is the joy? Because they're seeking it externally. They feel like they've been put under pressure externally, so they're seeking the answer externally, and it's not external. So you acknowledge that, thank you, despair. You are an element in the universe. It is needed for novel experience. All of this pressure and all of this light So thank you very much. I'm handing you off to God now. I don't really need to learn any more about you. And so then you say, all right, I'm going to take this part of me and I'm going to put him or her now into a completely different situation where you're going to get your needs met. And you begin to imagine it. Maybe you hand off that part of yourself to the Divine Mother and Divine Father. You put her or him in a beautiful little treehouse with yellow little curtains and it smells like strawberries, and you have a pet unicorn, and you start getting into the details. Well, what do unicorns smell like? Well, what are you going to feed it? You begin to imagine a very detailed, very beautiful situation. I don't care how whimsical it is. Go plop yourself onto the Pleiades if you want, or hand yourself off to whomever you trust in consciousness, including the adult version of you, if needed. It doesn't matter how you perceive exactly how to meet those needs, but as you watch that part of you that you're objectively nourishing, then you watch them find joy. You watch them experience the other side of the polarity, and your body doesn't know the difference because there isn't one. It's real. So then you begin to feel the joy. You can feel it, and that part of you gets their needs met, and you collapse the polarity because now you've experienced both sides, and then those patterns won't show up as much. There might be other layers. Like Sarah went through a clearing, but just like we might, go clean a wound, there'll be another layer of infection that might need to come out. But now there's room for it, right? And so you meet those needs. You meet the other side of the polarity by imagining those needs being met one way or another, and it collapses it. It collapses the pattern. This is the physics of consciousness, but that's one of the basic ways of how to deal with extreme emotions, is to recognize it's actually your body, but it's a step-by-step to follow the line, find the needs that weren't met, address them, meet them through imagination. Even if you aren't visual, it's okay, just feel them. Feel it. Feel what it would feel like to be held by the Divine Mother and Divine Father, getting every little need met. Let it be so, because you're the one who images it. The kingdom of heaven starts with that. And then you actually collapse the pattern.
Brilliant. Thank you. So Linda, hopefully that helps. But that was so, so important, because we are all going to still experience emotions. So, even when we're awake, right? We're still going to experience emotions. We're still going to have trauma. We're still going to have different experiences, but it's about using the tools to navigate it more quickly and easily and better, right? No, that was so helpful. Thank you, Elizabeth. Now, I'm surprised that you still have power in your phone.
Oh, it's
You
because I
know,
have
so
a battery. I have a battery. It's this little thing. It's helping
oh,
us.
thank goodness, because it's like, oh my goodness, it's already been 2 hours. But I just want to take a moment and talk about the package that you put together for our community today,
I'd
if that's
love to.
okay.
Would you mind listing out and what's in the package?
Yeah, I'm going to
Thank
share my
you.
screen.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen, so that'll help. But yeah, so there's the healing the child, right? Healing the masculine life class,
Healing the
healing the feminine.
children, yeah.
So we'll do one at a time,
Okay. So healing
right?
the children. Now I made this package super affordable because I really, really, really want people to take advantage of it if they can. So the healing the children I just taught, and I'm in that I teach you all about why the children are the key, and it's the key to ending the dark order. It's the key to the galaxy. It's the key to everything. Is the children, and deep down we all know that, and that's why the inner child has to be addressed and their needs have to be met. But we're in a big situation here because the children are being used as the fuel for darkness, literally. And so they're, in a sense, their blood, their bodies. And the Dark Order believes they have a right, that they have they actually believe that they are completely allowed to use our children. And that's something that I'm helping you reclaim, whether you have children or not, to reclaim the relationship you have with the children on this planet. It was really beautiful because I taught this class, Shefali. There was a lot. I got seriously spiritually attacked the few days before this class, which is why I was like, oh, this is good. I know this is big. So I've never been attacked like that before. I thought I was going to die, actually. And I was like, is it time, really? Okay. But that's not what happened. And the next day after I taught that class,
You mean you have to
Catherine-
ask me who you want to dance for?
That's a good question. So the day after I taught this class, Shefali, Catherine Austin Fitz wrote an article on the Solari report, and she's a very powerful, important person when it comes to undoing the matrix and the financial system's mess. But she wrote an article that said the exact same things I did. So that's how I know that I was spot on and right on track. Exactly the same stuff, right? So this is really juicy class. And it doesn't matter if you have kids, you're going to want to listen to this. This is going to change the way that you approach your life for sure. And it's going to help us help the children so that we can actually move forward in consciousness. We can't do it without them, obviously. They are the future. And I believe the next one's healing the masculine, right? Yeah.
And it's a live class coming up September 29th.
Yeah, this one's really important. And I just was on the phone with one of my male clients for some hours earlier today, and hashing some of these pieces out for the masculine because it's the next piece. And so I'm very passionate about helping heal the masculine. And in this class, I'm going to show you exactly what has happened to the men, why they need the reverence and the support they do, exactly how to give it to them. Even if they try to fight it, there's certain things that you can be doing to support the men in their healing. Ultimately, it's going to be their divine will and their survival mechanisms that get them into the next position in consciousness. But in the description on the sales page, I want you to read that. I'm not going to go into it. Read it, because I talk about a dream that I had when I was 29, and I go into a little bit a part of this dream in the description, and I want you to read it because there's already answers in that description for those of you who are going to want to listen to this class. I take all this very seriously, so we're going to go deep into what is going on for the men, and they're in an existential starvation. All of us can do something about it, and we're meant to. So this is part of our next piece for basically reclaiming our humanity and natural law. Then in October, I'm going to talk about healing the feminine. And it's not that the feminine comes last. It's because most of the people who come on to these calls are women. Most of the people who show up to my classes are women. So I'm setting you up as leaders in consciousness, and read the part of the dream that's in the description on the sales page, because that dream was big, and it's all one dream, literally. But I start you out with already something in the description alone for you to do work on, so that you can decide what kind of woman are you, and what kind of women do you want to surround yourself with, and how can we help the other women? How can the men help the women move forward? We're going to talk about all of those things, and then wrap it up in that class about the dynamics between all these pieces so that it can work properly in natural law. And that's the framework we're going to use, is natural law. So if you like the way I've been talking today, you'll get more of it. Most of my classes, friends, are like 4 hours long, and I can talk and actually have to be reminded to take breaks. But it's because that's the place I can sit and allow God to speak. Yeah, good. So then some bonus pieces just to help you out are some things I already taught. So there's a couple of live classes that are going to be big. You don't want to miss those. The next 2 months are important for basically setting ourselves up for success. But I give you more. Then I'm adding Healing the Masculine Feminine Gateway. It's a class I taught a few years ago about the dynamics between masculine and feminine and why it got so messed up. We need to fine-tooth comb through real history, not fake history, real history to find out what exactly happened, how did it get all messy exactly. And if you know that, then you can heal it. And that class is all about that. And it's how you do it from the inside out. And then the next class is really important. As I counsel couples too, I counsel whoever shows up. I mean, I'll counsel people's dogs, cats, horses, kids, couples, whatever shows up. But this one is really important. It's a healing and it's a training around compassionate communication. It's one of the most important tools that we're missing. And I know it's really important because it's incredibly awkward to use these tools at first. They don't feel like second nature because we've been so brainwashed to talk to each other so badly. And the brainwashing I talk about in the healing, it's 2 parts. The first one is the healing because I talk about the same thing. I talk about history. How did communication get messed up exactly? What happened to humans in their communication? And then once you know that, it can help you heal. And then you go into the training, which is a second class. And so there's 2 in 1. And that second class, I teach you exactly how to do compassionate communication. It's a set of tools that are seriously beautiful. And at first, if you can acknowledge how awkward it is at first, then you'll get better and better at it. And it is miraculous how it changes the way people talk to you, and it changes the way you talk to others, changes the way you listen, and it changes the way you are listened to. So we have to teach one another how to speak to one another. We have to teach people how to talk to us. And this class is going to teach you how. This double class. That's why there's 2 flowers in the picture. And then I added another class, Empaths and Entities. This one's for all of you folks who feel. And you don't worry about seeing. Feeling's a type of seeing, right? But how do you use that superpower without being miserable? And so those of you who are really learning to open your hearts, or those of you who are already super sensitive and now you're getting more sensitive because of the energies, this class is for you. And the latter half of the class, I cover how to deal with all these seemingly demonic forces and exactly how to make it stop. I know so because I had to live this the hard way. And I figured out the hard way, slowly, that basically, if there's food, then the cockroaches and the ants come. If there's food, then the demons come to feed off of it. So we have some tools in this class to not only help you claim your superpower as an empath, but for all of us to be finished with oppression, especially demonic oppression and mind control, and making your inner realm so pristine that not only are you not delicious anymore to the darkness, but they flee in your face. And that's exactly what will happen. I know it does because every possessed person in town always makes a beeline for me, because then they can be free for a minute. If they come up and talk to me, then the demon leaves. And that's such a pleasure to be able to offer people that safe space and then give them a chance to believe that they can be free. So you can do that too with your mere presence. Were there more classes?
One more.
Yeah. Yep. And then Bridging Heaven and Earth. So this is a little bit of an older one. It's from a few years ago, but still really relevant because I talk about what's going on galactically and how you are here to claim not only your authority through the materium, which is your relationship with the planet, but you're also here to claim your authority with the cosmos, which is your galactic authority. And these 2 come together in you, that you are the bridge. And I talk about some pretty interesting dramatic moments that occurred that were very important for me to learn how to do this myself, and that's exactly what we're required to do. But it's a step by step about how to be that bridge. So we cover a slightly different angle of things in that class about being a bridge between heaven and earth. You are the creator of heaven. The kingdom is in you. It's your imaging. You create it by tapping into source directly. And you are the one who can do that. That's what you're made for. That's what your body's made for. So very pleased to offer all of these things to you right now.
Yeah, so it's a full package, right? 2 live classes, and then I think 5, we'll say, instant access. So 4 bonuses and the Healing of Children instant access. All of this for $88. The payment plan available, of course. And if you are an Inner Circle member, please use your gift code. So this is a really relevant healing teaching package that we can all benefit from. So please do take a look at it, take advantage of it. And if some of you already have some of the instant access ones, well, there are 2 live classes that are coming up in September and October, right? Healing the Divine Masculine, Healing the Divine Feminine, right? Plus, plus you get all those bonuses as well. So definitely take advantage of it. And of course, when Elizabeth is talking, there's just so much more going on. It's not just words. It's not just wisdom. It's like an opening within you that happens when you are willing to receive. So ugh, I always love talking to you so much, Elizabeth. It's like I get so much from our conversation. It's
Same.
like it's so much opens up within me, and it's like when you're talking, uh, it's like we seem to experience a lot of the same 3D stuff, like trials and tribulations and blah blah blah. But at least the experiences that you've shared and the wisdom that you have and the oracle that you are, and then what you see helps all of us to navigate this field of consciousness with more ease and grace. And I think some of these tools that you're sharing with all of us are so helpful and so simple. I'll be honest, but simple is not the right term, but easy for us to grasp and easy for us to implement. But the truth is in the implementation and in just the awareness of who we are, right? Remembering who we are. And I really so much enjoyed this conversation. It's like whenever you come on, I've just been through something, and it's like
Yeah, same. For sure.
it's like so much is changing, so much is happening, but I'm so grateful for your support and for your wisdom and what you are sharing with everyone who's willing to listen and willing to be present and hear what you're saying. And you're right, you're not always going to catch everything that Elizabeth says, but that's why I always say go back and watch and listen, because I sometimes have to force myself to be totally present to make sure I catch everything. But I noticed that there was one part in this conversation that I missed. It's like I tuned out for a half a second for something, and it's like, oh, I missed it. I got to go back and watch that again, listen to that again. So and that's okay. There's so much available for us, and so much is changing, and you're right. It's a magical time, right? And it's such an important time because the change that is coming is something that we are all co-creating, right?
Yes.
We are co-creating this new change, and if we can stay with it and stay with remembrance of who we are and the divine rights that we have, and remembering God as the glorious, omnipotent,
Omnipotence of the divine.
the divine. It's like we are part of that. We are that. If we can remember that the divine is working through us, right?
Yeah.
And we are an expression of the divine will. If we can remember that, that will help us to calm down our ego, right? And help us to surrender a little bit more and offer up the suffering and the trauma and the trials and tribulations that we have. It'd be easier for us to offer that up to the divine if we can just remember that more and more and more. And I think some of the affirmations, that you shared with us today are so helpful. Again, you're going to have to go back and watch and listen, but write them down, make them your own, see how, they work for you, and then start using them. Right? So it is about using these tools, using these techniques, using these processes, and being willing to remember who we are, that we are just a part, like a cog in a machine. And it's, if I told you what I saw last week, you'd be like, yes, exactly, right? And it's like we are all needed and necessary, right? We are part of that greater divine will, and we exist because we are part of that. And it's such a wonderful feeling when you can come to that place and see that and feel that and truly know that, not just a belief, but see that and feel it and know it. Then it's like,
Yes.
okay, right? So any last words of wisdom? Because it's like there's just so much you always share. I just love it when you come on. I get so much from this. It's like, yeah, I'm so grateful, and I'm
Thank you.
receiving. So thank you.
Same. I also get a lot out of being together in this community so much. My last piece, I guess, would address something that I kept looking at in the chat. The intrinsic, someone said it was like the intrinsic feelings of inadequacy, right? Which is another word for worthlessness. And I want people, we feel that especially when we're dealing with money, or like the confusing world of crypto, which people also wanted me to address. And the short piece on that is simply to step away from all of it. There is not going to be a global answer to this. It's going to be local always, only ever local. But remember that it's in you first. So the worthlessness piece, my friends, is mind control. And it's the most important of all the mind controls. And it has a sister mind control. The first one, though, is that humans are bad, or that you are bad, or that humans are a virus, blah, 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 blah. None of that's true. It's all a lie, and it's keeping you from all your cool superpowers. So whenever these intrinsic thoughts come in, it's not intrinsic. Intrinsic means that it's woven into you. No. It's mind control. It's like your petri dish of your ego. Ego is meant to simply make it so you survive, so that you avoid the jaguar in the jungle, or avoid the bus hitting you on the street. And so you release that too. You offer it up. Take this worthlessness. And then you give yourself that beautiful drink of awareness that is what's called universal compassion. That's the antidote. That cleans up the egoic structure. The ego's been poisoned. Very bad little programs have been put into that petri dish, but you can shatter all of that. You can clean it out. And you clean it out with universal compassion, which says everything has its place. That's part of the divine order. Everything has its place. And that means suffering too. That means the madness too. It has its place. And that's one of the ways that you can trust fall back into your soul being in charge, which is how we were meant to come in. And we all did come in that way. We came in as children of God, and we leave as children of God the whole time. We were always that. Your body is that. And then the second sister program for you to dissolve with your attention here is, I have to earn love. The other half of the equation is, everything has its place, and the only requirement for love is existence. So another bumper sticker t-shirt. I'm going to repeat it. Everything has its place, and the only requirement for love is existence. You don't have to earn love. Your body has been lied to and told that we have to earn love. And even wilder stuff. I've heard things like, if your bank account is low, then it represents your consciousness, or some madness like that, which always is so weird. No. Yeah, you already are utterly loved. You have to image it for yourself. You take your body and you take your awareness and you put it into that love. It's there. Fall back into it. Take your place. So that's my final message.
Beautiful. So many messages on today's show. So many divine messages and messages that really are going to speak to your soul, right? And so, again, it's going to be important, I think, for everyone to go back and watch and listen. I will have the recording out in a little while, but it's going to be so important to go back and listen, because I feel like I could sit here and continue to listen to you talk, Elizabeth. I can just sit here for hours and just listen to you talk.
I like listening to it too. My boyfriend will play me because he used to be my student, and he'll play me in the kitchen, and I'll come down and be like, wow, that's really good. Who is that? And then I'll go over, I'm like, oh my gosh. Of course. I'm a human too, but hey, all of us have this capacity. I'm only 42. Like, we all have this capacity to allow this truth to move through you. It's there.
Yeah.
It's already there. So I'm not that much farther around the corner, and I've fallen off a few cliffs and climbed back up and come back around the corner all messed up and say, don't take a left up here. So I'm with you. I'm actually like with everybody here. And I'm also learning all these things. But yeah, I want this for all of us. It's our divine right to have access to all of this wisdom and knowledge within.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree, 100%. And I'm so grateful that I have this platform so that I could invite you here to share. I mean,
Thank
I
you.
know you're on many, many different platforms, but I'm just grateful that I'm able to do my little part to, um, have you come here and share your wisdom. And, it's
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 so
it's
important.
needed right now. It's
It's so
needed.
important. Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, everybody, for being here,
Thank you.
co-creating this beautiful space. Thank you for all your comments and feedback and all the questions in the chat. I know we didn't get to everything, but there was just still so much here. And of course, Elizabeth will be back next season. I forget the date, but she'll be back again. Because
Soon,
again,
yes. Mhm.
we just love it, talking to you. So thank you. Definitely take a look at the package, and that'll be out in the email as well. Oh my goodness. So anyways, we'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. So thank you, Elizabeth. And until next time, everyone, may you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Sending you all so much love and blessings. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
I'm so glad it all worked out.
Yes, me too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.